Hi there, I am Diane Simmons from Cake Connection in Jackson, Michigan, and tonight we are going to do some stamping fun. So we have Mr. Daron back there on the camera tonight, so hopefully we'll be able to field your questions. If you have any, holler away and he will try and read. And if not, hopefully his little birdie is off watching too, and she'll let him know if he missed a question. All right, we are going to get started. So we'll have Mr. Cameraman zoom the camera down here and get you going. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, what we are starting out with, have a whole little plethora of tools and fun stuff to show you tonight. So, the stamps that I'm going to be using, and this is purely a preference thing because I like the clear black so you can see through it and line up where you're going to stamp on what you're working with, okay? That is 100% the only reason I go with these. You can get these blocks in any of your craft stores, you know, your Joann's, Michael, Hobby Lobby type stuff, okay? These are nothing special about these tools. They're just everyday stamp stuff, okay? One thing I do want to say just before we get going, if you have used your stamps with regular ink, I don't recommend that you use them for your food products, okay? I would go buy some new ones and then just wash them off with, honestly, I throw mine in my dishwater. So, so there's for that. If you do something beyond that, I didn't advise it, but I'm going to show you how to work with them nonetheless, okay? The ones that I'm using tonight happen to be Stampendous brands. There's all kinds of different clear brands that work with the clear blocks like this. All right, and they basically just stick to them. And here you can see these are some of the different ones that we have for class use. Okay, and they show on the back what the design is, but the back is just kind of a foam, and that sticks to the clear stamps or clear blocks. Sorry about that. Okay, so I've already pulled some out that we're going to work with tonight. And then the other thing we are using is, well, it was a clear ink pad. Okay, you do have to look a little bit. These I do have because I've had people have so much trouble finding them in the stores. So I do have these that I sell here. They don't have any ink in them when you get them. They're completely, you can do your custom thing with them, okay? So when you get these, then you just need some airbrush color to load them with, all right? And I'm not gonna put a bunch in here just because this one's already full. But you literally just run around and soak that down, okay? It is truly that easy. All right. And then I do want to cover just real quick for storage. You don't want to just leave them like this and throw them in a box. All right. I really recommend, just to save your food coloring that you put in there, put them inside a little Ziploc for storage. All right. I just wanted to cover that before I forget about it at the end, because I got a lot of stuff I want to show you. So, all right. Now with these, obviously you can put any color. You know, if you want to do an ink pad green to do your leaves with, you can do that. If you had, I don't know, some red or pink or something, literally you can load these with any color. They're not so much what I would consider cleanable though. Once you do that, you're going to need to leave it for that color. All right. So if you think you want to do a bunch of different ones, but honestly, black is probably my favorite to work with. And I'm going to show you different ways to bring color in, even when you're working with the black. All right. So, our little stamps. All right. And now this, you can probably tell on here, I haven't cleaned this one. I was working with some stuff, getting it prepped a little earlier. So this has still got some black on it. So is the leaf on here. Okay. These have been used before, and then again, just cleaned them in my dishwater, rinsed them off real well, and then let them air dry. You want to be sure that that foam air dries before you put them in any sort of container or package or anything for storage. All right. With the clear block, these literally, you put them on, they're stuck. Okay. I'm kind of pushing a little hard on that. It's stuck now. It will peel back off once you pull it, but once you push it on there, it's on there. Okay? Not going anywhere. Alrighty? So we've got our food color, our airbrush color that I loaded in the stamp pad. We have our clear block stamp, and then it has the design on the back side of it. That's what I was saying, why I use the clear ones, just so I can see where I can line that up. All right. So let's do our first thing. And a lot of the stuff I'm going to work with tonight is smaller scale, just so it's easier to be on camera. You can do this on all sorts of different, it doesn't have to be on cookies. I've got some cookies made, but I've also got some fondant plaques. I made a head that are dried. I'm going to do some on there. So, kind of don't think, oh, this is just a cookie demo, because you can apply it to anything with what we're going to do. All right. So I think we'll start out here. I'm just going to use, like I said, this is just a fondant or gum paste. I don't even know for sure. Just a plaque that I made and have let it dry. All right. So you just take your stamp, just push it on there. All right. If you want to test it first, just to be sure that it's good, that you've got enough ink in or food color in your ink stamp. All right. Just take this is just some parchment paper, but you can use anything, just a piece of paper is fine too. All right. You can just go test it. And that was probably, it didn't get real dark just because I was playing and sitting here waving it around and whatnot. So here, we'll do another one there, right after I was in the ink to test it, and yes, we're good. Okay? And I usually blot them like 3 or 4 times. That's just me. I want to make sure I've got the food color everywhere on the stamp. Okay? And now, just press down and lift up. Okay. I'm not really sure what I want to do for a design yet. And do I want another one? I kind of feel like I have to put another one on there. Oh, I don't have a little bud out. What do I do with those? See, ideally, I would want a little bud on there, but I don't think I'm going to get one because I don't have one in my stuff. So we're not having a bud on there, I guess. Oh well, that's okay. But I can't do an even number of flowers because that just breaks all cardinal rules, right? You have to have an odd number. So there, we'll do our little, but now it's not centered. You guys know that's going to drive me batty, but that's okay. We're going to roll with it. All right. So there you can see we've got our flowers on. And now I'm just going to peel that off. And I'll put some leaves on. So there, I just push that on. And it's literally that simple to change out your stamps. Okay. And I'm going to go test my leaf over here my scrap paper real quick. All right, we got a good test, so we'll run with that. Let's see. I'm gonna figure out where I'm gonna put these. Now I did do one, a test one just for the picture for the show, or the class here, to promo out. And I did the leaves with green. I have some other stamps filled with some green too. And honestly, when I got done, I didn't care for it so much, so I went back and put the black on over. And luckily, with the little outline on the back of here, I was able to kind of line it up, and I'll show you a little later what I'm talking about. And now if you notice, when I stamp this, I'm not worried if I'm going off the edge of my plaque. Okay? Totally cool with that. So actually both these leaves, this one just a little tip out there, but this one almost half the leaf that isn't on there. I'm all right with that. Okay? So there we've got just our little plaque. Okay? And now you could, if you were doing a black and white theme on your cake or something, this would be perfect as is. You know, if you've got some different, just to have a black and white design, you could, you know, leave a little space, write happy birthday, or, you know, mom if it was for Mother's Day, or whatever. So you could be done there, or, because we always have to go to or, right? Or we can decorate it. So, the first way I'm going to show for the decorating Are you watching for questions?
No, I was.
No? What do you mean no?
I'm watching for questions. I haven't seen any.
We almost busted him, you guys. Okay. So, this is just actually some luster dust, not some petal dust. Alright. And I'm going to put some out on my paper towel here. There we go. I'm trying to make sure. Am I in the center in the camera good?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Darren just asked me if we were worried that we couldn't see my face. We are not worried about that at all because you guys like to have stuff zoomed in. We've learned this, right? Okay. And again, this is just some dry luster dust. And we're just going around. I'm not super worried about it. Yes, I want to stay in the lines, but you know what? If it doesn't stay completely in the lines, I'm still all right with that because it'll give it kind of a watercolor sort of look. And that's okay, all right? And I'm not going to finish the whole thing. As always, I will come back and finish it and I'll put pictures on later on, okay? But you can see this is what you can do just with any of the dry petal and luster dust, okay? And I do have one over here that I did the other day. And I just want to show you. Okay, this one I did with the petal dust also, okay, the petals and lusters. But this is where I was telling you, are we zoomed in enough that, can we see the green line over here and the black line? Is that showing? Yeah. Okay, so this is just what I want to show you guys real quick. I told you I'd done the outline initially with the green, but it didn't show up that well and I didn't really like it. So I literally went back once I had it all dusted in and I lined up basically the best I could and just hit it with the black stamp on there. Okay, I'll set it down so I'm not moving it around, jiggling or shaking or anything. Okay, so if you do something you're really not happy with the look of it or anything, you can go back and still cover it. And yes, I know that we're a little bit off right in there, but I don't think it looks terrible like that, so we're rolling with it. So anyways, that's a sample of a finished one just with the petal dust filling in there. Okay. Now, I have, just because I like to live on the edge, I have an actual cookie iced in royal icing here. And I will be honest, this is probably one of the harder things to do with this stuff. Because you need to be really, really flat. Sorry, it's some petal dust on there. I had to blow that off. You need your cookie icing really flat to do this, okay? I don't know which one of these is. Probably this one's a little bit flatter. So we're going to try. This is one of those times I really, really wish I had one of those jigglers. What do they call them? Vibration tables. That they use. I don't even know what they use them for, especially, but I know I've seen some cookie people have them. I can't justify spending the money on it, but it would be nice to sit there and like have the cookie jiggled around after you put the base icing on, and then it would be super flat and way cool. But that's okay. We'll do it without. And we'll see how it rolls. But I have a backup plan if this doesn't work. Because we always have a backup plan, right? What do we want to do? Let's do some lilacs. So a little lilac thing here. So we'll put that on. And this one, it's just a little bit bigger. Let me be sure you guys can see this. It's a little bit bigger than my ink pad. Okay. So this one I am definitely making a point to move around and make sure I've gotten everything. Okay. And then I just want to go test it over here real quick. Perfect. Okay. All right. Cross your fingers, everybody. Whee. And I'm kind of rocking it a little bit, you can see. Hoping that I hit... Ah, bonus! Okay. So, with the cookie, and again, this was just some royal icing I did that's sat and gotten nice and hard. Okay? So, few options you could do. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do the other one at the same time.
How long a drying time for the cookie?
You mean after I stamp it or for the icing? These I put the icing on last night. And now I'm doing them. You just want to be sure that the icing is good and hard because like I said, I was kind of rocking it around a little bit. You don't have to press super hard on it. And this one, I'll be honest, I don't think I'm going to hit the whole thing because there is a somewhat... Oh my gosh, it did. Awesome. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm going to try and move it around a little bit. There's actually a pretty decent bump in my icing where it's not super level. But I think just from, like right there is my low point. Right there, it kind of caved down in a little bit, like dipped down. And you can tell, but we've still got our outlines, so we're going to roll with it. And I'll still show you my backup contingency plan. Okay. So, first option, do this first one we did. You could go in with your edible markers, okay? And just color. So this would be a fun thing for the kids. Basically kind of another option to do paint your own stuff if you don't have an airbrush to work with all the stencils, okay? And I know paint your own things are super, super popular right now. And again, I am not going to sit here and make you watch the entire thing get colored in. We'll just do a couple of them. And I'm kind of thinking I might do some other, maybe some pink ones mixed in here. I'm not sure. Let's see, we'll do this one purple too. But you can kind of get the idea here. Anyways, like I was saying, if you want to do the paint your own cookies, this would absolutely be another way to do that if you don't have the airbrush and you don't have all the stencils and stuff. But if you do have some fun stamps that you've never used, you can bust them out and do this with it. Okay? So there's just a few of them. And here we've got pink one. I'll do one real quick here just to show you the mix of them together. And I know I'm not hitting all my lines just right. I'm just trying to work quick so you guys don't have to sit here and watch me color for hours and hours. Okay? So there. And another thing I will do once I'm done also, and again, I will post pictures as always once I finish up, but I've got some black frosting in here. Well, it's kind of gray tone, but I've got some in here. And here, I'll go pop some on real quick. So I was thinking just to add a little dimension and stuff. Not super huge, but as I get them colored in, I'll go back and at least pipe the center and the flowers. Okay, just a little something, doesn't have to be huge. Okay, so on that note, another thing you can use these for is your outlines. Okay, now I don't have a bunch of different colored frosting mixed up, but I do have, oops, I cut that a little bit big. So I've got kind of some bluey purple mixed up here. And I still have a whole nother idea too that I wanted to show you with the frosting on here. I cut my tip a lot bigger than what I intended to, so I'm kind of dealing with it. And if you notice, I'm not going out completely to cover my lines up, and I'm doing that on purpose. I want those to stay showing. Okay. And I think I cut my hole here more along the lines of like a tip 3 or so, and I wanted more of like a tip 1 for this. I'm not gonna make you guys sit and wait while I load another bag, because that would just be silly. Let me grab a scribe real quick. Hang on. Aaron, you could sing to them.
Well, they don't want that.
Okay. So there, I'll just work that out a little bit. And again, I am not going to sit here and do this entire flower. Or the entire thing. I'll finish it after we get done, and I'll post pictures later too. Okay. So when I push this out, again, I'm just making a point not to go completely to the edge with it. Okay? I want you to be able to see. There's something in my frosting there. Being weird. I want you to be able to see the black that we stamped on there, okay, for the outlines on everything. Okay. But there, you can kind of, are we zoomed in good?
They can see.
All right. And then again, I would go back in here and do the little center on the flowers. Okay. And we'll go finish that off later and get pictures for you. Okay, so another thing I wanted to show you, and this is just some little fondant plaques that I cut out. All right, I cut out some round ones.
You have a request for your buttercream icing recipe.
Buttercream icing recipe is posted on the Facebook page in the recipe post. There's one post that has all sorts of recipes posted there.
That was from Nancy.
That was from Nancy, my sister-in-law.
Yes.
Nancy, you silly sister-in-law, you. She's doing that to be funny. Okay. So, again, this is just a little plaque I made. This is something you could make up just to put up on the sides of your cakes if you were doing a layer cake or something and didn't really have much of anything in particular. Woo, and look at it stick. Okay. And my fondant is still soft. So now I'll see if you guys can see. I pushed way too hard, obviously. I don't know if you guys can see that. I kind of billowed it. I have a little bit of a light going on about that. But we'll do another one here and not push so hard. So I kind of like that just because it kind of made a little pillowy, billowy look to it. This one I'm just going to barely tap it. So there we have just the outlines. Okay. Is there any chance that billowing is showing up online? I'm going to bet not.
I can see it.
Well, I know you can see it, silly goose.
It's like, it looks like a texture like a mosaic.
It does, it really does. So now which one do I want to do? Okay. Oh, the decisions. Which one do I want to play with? Alright. So, got some frosting over here. And then just any non-particular paintbrush. I think I might work with my puffy one here. And my thought was to do kind of a little bit, I think I need a finer brush. What did I do? Oh my gosh. Much closer than they might have bitten me. My little plethora of brushes, you guys. Because I never know what I want. Let me see here. I'm going to wipe that off. Yes, I am. And then pipe just a little bit on. And now I have like a really fine little brush here. That was still more icing than I wanted. Yes, it was. Alright. So let me try just picking some up here and adding it. I want to do kind of a brushed embroidery look-ish, but not on the whole thing. I was thinking that might be kind of neat looking. Something different. So I'm just going out here at the edge of the petals, putting a little bit of icing out there, and then just kind of swooping it in. Oh, I gotta get some of this off there. That's just too much.
What type of food color would you recommend?
Airbrush food color is what I put in the I assume you're asking about the stamp pad. And I just put airbrush food color in. See, in my mind, I thought this was going to be really cool looking. I'm not sure if I like that or not now. Might need a little more tweaking. I guess I kind of do. Okay. So there kind of dresses up the petal. I guess I ended up going a lot more brushed embroidery looking than what I was planning. I thought I was just going to do like a little bit of it, but that's okay. Again, put a little center in the flowers because they just need it. Okay. So there, let me think what else. Oh, I know what else I was going to show you. Where is my paint tray? Mr. Simmons, do you see my paint tray? Because it was here and now it's not. What did I do with it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was literally the closest thing to me. Okay. So anyways, we have our paint tray. Oh. Apparently I'm a little more tired than I realized. Oh, this is some vodka that we're putting in. Have any of you guys watched on Netflix the Sweet Magnolias series? It just came out, what did it say? I think it said like maybe May 20th or something. And I just happened to cross it on Sunday. Or Monday, maybe. And I finished it already. Of season 1. And then I was really sad because there's only season 1 right now. So now I gotta wait for more. Alright. I'm just putting some airbrush color. Of course I have one that isn't open yet. Just a second here. Oh, I saw somewhere somebody posted how do you get into your food color without getting color all over your hand. Well, I would say wear some gloves too. But the edge of a knife and peel those up usually eliminates a lot of mess. Okay? Just a little side snippet there. So again, I'm just doing some vodka and a drop of food color. And again, this is airbrush color. Okay? There we go. And let's do... Oh, I don't have anything to do green. So let's do some purple. And you could, if you made a darker plaque, like if you did, you know, a darker purple or a darker pink or whatever color flower you wanted, then with the outlines, you absolutely would not have to do any coloring, anything. You could just leave it as is and roll with it, okay? And this would be more kind of watercolor-esque. Okay. And think I'm going to do a couple colors on there, so I don't want to get any ones right next to each other, maybe. I think I'm going to do some pink ones too. And you don't want a lot on your brush when you do this, okay? That's why if you notice when I'm dipping in to the paint mix, I'm kind of wiping most of the excess back off. Okay? You don't need a lot on your brush at all. Let's see. All right. Clean my brush off here. We'll grab some pink. All right. And again, this is just the food color, and I used airbrush color. You could use the gel paste if you wanted. Just if you do that, I really recommend just use a toothpick and dip in, because the gel paste is so much more concentrated than the airbrush color. Okay? So you will get super, super dark colors if you don't watch. And honestly, it's not being super wasteful either. If you get something too dark, dump most of it out, or just start with a little bit more vodka in another one and just take a little bit of your color here and go over. So like if I wanted to do, oops, rolling brush. If I want to do just a really pastel pink, okay, I'm just going to take what I have on my brush right there. Get just a little bit more right up here. Okay. And then go in and paint with that, and that's barely going to show up.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to see it, but
It's there, I promise. Oh, I think it's going to show up.
I have to zoom way in.
Mister's going up to zoom way in for you here, guys. See, so there, just quick and easy, I got a whole nother color. Because this right here is the pastel that I just mixed. But just by grabbing that little bit and putting in. Okay, and I could do the same thing with the purple, just to make a real, which I still might, I don't know, to make a real light shade of purple here too. Nah, we'll just do the pink in there real quick, just so it's done. Okay, but that really was just that quick and simple to be done with it. And boom, that's all set. Okay, if you don't want to pipe, you know, to have any dimension there, you could take your food color marker and come back in if you just wanted to make those centers just pop a little more. Don't have to by any means. Okay? I'm just giving you if you want type things. Okay? But there's quick and easy, I guess what I consider kind of watercolor. Alright? And then
The person said when I do that, it pits the icing. What might I be doing wrong?
probably just putting too much, well, A, are you using alcohol? That's probably the biggest thing I see is people, if you use water, it's going to just sit there, okay? If you use alcohol, the reason for the alcohol is that it evaporates real quick, okay? And that was another reason I was saying when I was dipping into it, whoops, it's kind of splashed around there, made a mess. When you dip down into it, I'm not sure what I have on that. Oh, that is the brush I was using, okay. So as you're in it, you don't want to take this fully, I mean, this brush is soaking wet right now, okay? You want to wipe all your excess off because there's a lot of color on my brush, all right? You can see right here. So there's still a lot I can do with that. But if it's pitting, more than likely, it's just that you've got too much liquid on there, okay? If you are opposed to using alcohol, which, you know, I know there's a lot of people that don't want to use alcohol, and that's not a problem. You can go get lemon extract, okay? Which actually has as high of an alcohol content as most of your, like vodka and gin, you know, your clear alcohols. Lemon extract will also work fine and it will evaporate. Okay? So don't use water for that because yes, it will probably pit. And then get all your excess off that you can. Alright. And next thing I wanted to show you, oh, there it is. Just a sec, I reach for all my table is full of different tools I wanted to use tonight to show you guys. Okay, wafer paper. Alright. And wafer paper, as you know, has a bumpy side, has a smooth side. We want to stamp on the smooth side. Okay. So we peeled off our old one. We're going to put our daisy back on there. Get our stamp pad back out. Okay, fill that up. Ready? That quick and easy. Now this, I forgot to mention, obviously this is some colored wafer paper. You can do this on white, and if you do it on white, you could do any, basically anything that we were doing. The one thing I will caution, if you try to paint, actually here I'm just going to show you. If you dip this in and try and paint with this, there's a very good chance it's going to shrivel up on you, okay? Because wafer paper does not like moisture. Let me do some purple over here so you can see it. Show up a little better. All right. And I don't think I got too much. Yeah, it's starting to. Okay, so the pink down here, the purple should start in a minute. But here, I'm not going to get as much of the excess off there. And I'm going to do some. I'm going to show you just how bad it'll get. Okay. So here, this section, I didn't take hardly any of the excess off my brush. This one I took most of it off that I could. Okay. I'm going to hit the excess there.
It's already bubbling up.
Yeah. Okay. And this last section, I cleaned my brush off all I could, and then I went over here and I still hit both sides just to get all the excess vodka out that I could. Okay, and then brushed on. That's what I'm saying. There is a ton of color in your brush, even when you think there's not. Alright? So if you want to paint the wafer paper, get everything out of your liquid that you can. Good?
You will be when, yep, now you are.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was off camera there, guys. So did they see any of the painting when I did that? Alright.
Yeah, they got the gist of it because you were right off the edge.
Okay, so again, this was the pink I did up here, which I realized wasn't showing so well, so I switched over to purple. Okay, this section right here, I just went in with the brush, I got off everything that I could, and then brushed it. Okay, this next one, I basically just went solid. I didn't clean my brush off at all, really. Okay, and this last one, I got everything off of it that I could. I'm trying to hold my tray still. So I got everything off that I could, and then I still took my brush out here to get some of the excess vodka and then come in and brushed. All right. That is what you want to do with wafer paper. Okay. I think you guys can probably see now it's starting to curl up and bubble on there. I'll move around a little bit, maybe you can see. Okay, wafer paper does not like wet at all. Okay. And this down here, that's where I was saying I got everything I could out of the brush and then went on. Okay. So even when you think there isn't, there's probably some color on your brush. So try it and see. Okay. So anyways, there we go. Need my little side checks there. So we have stamped on our, oops, there, on our wafer paper. And we can just cut those. All right. Now, if you wanted to do like a round, I think I put my, oh, Darren's using my paper punch. But if you had a, don't worry about it. It's okay. If you have a paper punch that will fit around, actually, let me see it for a second. See, he thinks I'm not going to, and I'm going to. Oh, can we get in there? I probably cut too much of this off to, let's see here. I'm trying. Okay, there we go. So you could go in, and you have to work from the, whoops, back side of your punch so you can look down. Buttercup. I'm trying to work away from myself so you guys can see here. Okay. So you could, if you were just going to use this for cupcake decorations or whatever, you know, you could cut your shape and then just have it ready to stand up in your cupcakes. But with the colored wafer paper, that is ready to go. In my opinion, you could totally put that on for decoration, okay? Or even with the white, if you were doing a black and white theme or something like that, okay? But if you want to cut them out, okay, these that I'm using are little spring scissors. Okay, they're one of my favorite discoveries. Michelle and I found these for the gelatin flowers years ago. But for anything like this, if you take your big scissors and try and get in here, you can, but I'm not going to lie, it's hard. Okay? I just find it so much easier with these things. Just to run around here. Alright? So there, I'm not going to make you sit and watch me cut those out. So there, you have a finished flower. Oh, I have to get some clean. This is not okay. There. So there, you have a clean flower that's all trimmed in wafer paper, and you can use that however you want. But it's all colored, ready to go. And how cute is that? Now, another thing you can do with your wafer paper is make a little bouquet. And there we go. I have some 28 gauge wire. Okay. And I'm just cutting those in half, roughly. And then somewhere I have just some green royal icing here. And I'm just going to clean off my dry crusted end there first. And then we'll just pipe a little center in there. And I'm working on the back side, okay? And I'm going to roll my wire around just a couple times real quick. Make sure it's coated. And then set it down in there. Am I on the screen good?
Yeah, once you move to
Okay.
There.
Okay, so just a little dab of royal icing, a 28 gauge wire, and then you do have to let that dry for a little bit, okay? You could use my favorite standby and put some chocolate on there if you wanted. These are some I did a little earlier, okay? But you can stand those up and make a little bouquet cake topper. And you could do some leaves and cut those out, okay? But a fun, easy cake topper too. And again, very, very minimal as far as work. You know what? Stamp it on and you're done. Cut it and you're done. Okay. Easy peasy, as Carol says. We like easy peasy. All right, set that aside. And I have one final testarossa, because I figured, I can't believe none of you guys asked this. Or my Mr. missed the question. Will it work on buttercream? So did Darren miss the question, or did you guys really, nobody even ask that?
That was my next question.
Ah, okay. Cool. So, I'm going to say very honestly, I don't know. I have not tried it on buttercream. This is a crusting buttercream, okay? As you can see, because I bumped it when it was sitting over there, or I dropped something on it. And I'm still able to dent it a little bit here. My gut feeling is no, but we're going to see. I'm just gently going to set this on there, barely pushing here. Just want to make sure it's actually hit everything. Oh, that sunk way down in there. Let's try her again. Okay, so my barely touching it was actually touching it too much. Okay. I'm gonna say not really. I'm thinking not really. Now one possibility might be, which I didn't think to do this for a sample for you guys. You could possibly freeze it and do it and then let it thaw. I'm not certain on that, but that would be my only thought. Because like I said, this is a crusting. I spread this out probably about 2 hours ago. Okay. So if it were gonna keep it off there and hold up good, I think it should have. So possibly freeze it, but my general response is no, it's not really gonna work so well on buttercream. But you could, I think. This is a clean one that I haven't dipped in the ink at all. I think you could still probably use it for a pattern. Ugh, I did not like that without... Yeah, see, I'm like barely touching this with when I put the stamp pad on there. It's still just making kind of a mess. So my general response is going to be then, no, I don't really think I would try doing it on buttercream. Not saying that it can't. But hopefully you got some good ideas and are ready to go get out some of your stamping stuff that you bought years and years ago for scrapbooking and never used. Now you can put them to use with your sugar art.
How do I turn back up, Boo?
Yep.
Okay, you have a question.
I have a question. Okay, what do we got?
I haven't used wafer paper yet, so
Okay.
how would you attach the wafer paper cut out to the cake or cookie? I'm worried about if it would dissolve.
Piping gel. Piping gel is my absolute favorite numero uno glue.
Oh man,
So, piping gel.
I got you zoomed in, Pooh.
Oh, I'm zoomed in.
Yeah, let's back you up. Sorry about that.
Darren's a rookie on the camera, can you tell?
Yep.
So, anyways, yeah, I would definitely piping gel to attach it. Okay. The other thing you can do, pull this. I'm just gonna pop this off here real quick. You could just do the center of it. Just put some in the center. And then very, very lightly mist your edges out here with some vodka. And they will just naturally start to curl a little bit. If you want to do something like this. Obviously you don't have to. But just put a little dab of icing or piping gel right there in the center. And again, this is just if you wanted your petals and stuff to give it a little dimension. Okay? Actually, here, Darren, zoom back down in just a sec. Okay, so if you so desired, you could cut your petals apart in here. I can do all of them, just a few there. Okay. And oh, I don't have my vodka misty thing. Alright. I'm just going to kind of roll these up on my brush here, just so you can see. Okay. So if you, and wafer paper really will curl and move around this easy here. Right? And I'm just doing this real quick just to show you based on the question. Okay? So there, if you wanted to give it a little dimension, okay, you could just take a little dot of icing and put your wafer paper in. Okay? If you want the whole thing to adhere down flat, then I would really recommend, I know I don't have my gloves on. This is just for demo, people. Okay, so if you wanted this to be down flat on there, I would just brush piping gel on the back of it and then press it down in. Okay? But if you wanted the dimension on there, and again, these I just really quick cut apart with the scissors and then curled them up a little bit. Alright? And you could curl some forward, some backwards, just to give them some movement going on. Okay? And just put a little dollop there in the center. That'll hold it. Okay? Any other questions before we go? Alrighty.